watching Nightline and I'm Norzie news making the headlines. Cautious on day one of SOP relaxations for those fully vaccinated. And stern action awaits those who forge a vaccination certificate. Day one of the relaxation of restrictions under the National Recovery Plan, NRP, for the relevant states got off to a rather cautious start. Terengganu is one of those states, and while there is excitement that some restrictions have been relaxed, there are those that are just not willing to take chances. Most restaurants and food operators were all set to welcome their customers. However, there were more customers who opted to take away their food instead of dining in. There were also other operators who chose to disallow dining in.
Hari ini kita dah buat makan kedai sebab kita tak mahu ambil risiko memandangkan kes Terengganu masih tinggi. Yang kedua sebab pekerja kita pun kekurangan pekerja. Pekerja pun belum lekat lagi 2 dos.
Mari nak makan kedai. Tapi tengok seorang keadaan hari ni boleh makan dah kedai. Tapi mari-mari tengok meja pun tak ada lagi, kursi pun tak ada lagi. Tapi kita bukuh je lah.
For those with means to open their shops for dining in, they made sure all aspects of the Standard Operating Procedure, or SOP, were adhered to. Long-distance married couples, meanwhile, took advantage of the relaxation of SOP to travel. Despite that, no major traffic issues were reported.
Saya dari Taman Melati, setapak.
Ya, so hari ni nak pergi mana ni?
Hari ni saya nak balik jumpa anak saya dan suami di Paka, Terengganu.
Berapa lama tak balik tak?
3 bulan lebih. Takut kita mesti amalkan SOP dan kita mesti dapatkan vaksin ya untuk rakyat semua.
Daripada Putrajaya.
Putrajaya.
Ya,
lama dah tak jumpa vaksin ni?
Lebih kurang 2 bulan lebih.
2 bulan lah.
Ya.
Jadi bila kerajaan umum ni apa rasa?
Ya, happy lah dapat jumpa anak-anak apa semua.
As for the tourism sector, industry players, especially hoteliers and homestay operators, have already started giving domestic tourism a push. In Pulau Pinang, the state famous for nasi kandar, the people there are choosing to take out. And the reason being, most of these food operators have issues with their workers who have yet to complete both doses of the COVID-19 vaccine.
Pekerja setengah saja dapat suntikan lagi, yang setengah belum dapat lagi. Tapi kita hanya tunggu untuk semua orang sudah dapat komplit, baru kita boleh dine in lah.
Most of the customers understood the situation and had no issues for takeouts.
Saya rasa ambil boleh makan kat rumah lagi selamat daripada makan kat kedai lah. Sebab kontak rapat nanti lagi payah. Jadi susah lah. Kesian kat KKM semua.
The situation is quite similar in Perak. Most food operators and also their customers prefer takeaway orders. The food operators in the state noticed that not many customers came by for dine-ins, despite the relaxation of SOP given. However, those who chose to dine in were mostly senior citizens.
Kuranglah sikit daripada selalunya, memang ramai, tapi sebabkan hari ni hari mula, jadi dia orang rasa macam tak berapa nak selesa lagi lah. Sebab yang setengah tu baru first dose, jadi dia orang tak makan kat sini kan. Jadi yang second dose tu kat Chek lah, dia orang punya sejahtera. Kalau betul ada buka bagi makan lah, kalau tidak dia tak berani juga kan.
Tengok keadaan kalau tak ramai tu rasanya boleh lah kan. Tapi kalau dah ramai sangat kita pun risau juga kan.
On Tuesday, Perak recorded 953 new COVID-19 cases and most of the areas in the state are in the red zone. And with the relaxation of SOP for certain states, police are conducting stringent checks to avoid fake vaccination certificates. In Kelantan, thorough screenings are being conducted at roadblocks manned by the police.
Telah membuat pemeriksaan 100% ke atas dokumen-dokumen yang ditunjukkan kepada petugas-petugas kita bagi memastikan ketelinannya dan tidak ada pemalsuan dilakukan oleh pengguna-pengguna jalan raya yang ada kemungkinan mengambil kesempatan di atas pelonggaran yang telah diberi oleh pihak kerajaan.
Police have warned they would slap errant motorists with compounds if they are found to have faked their vaccination certificates. In Gua Musang, however, everything was normal, with no such incident having been reported. And while the enforcement authorities are working hard to enforce the strict SOP, it was disclosed on Tuesday that within a week, a total of 810 premises had been ordered to stop operations immediately for flouting the regulations. The National Security Council said the premises included factories, construction sites and businesses. In his social media post, Senior Minister for Security, Datuk Sri Hishamuddin Tun Hussein, said despite getting permission to operate, the premises had no excuse for breaching SOP, which would pose a high risk to the safety of the country, especially with the spread of COVID-19. He then warned that if such premises do not take responsibility themselves, they would have to bear the consequences. In the meantime, the Malaysian Health Coalition, MHC, has urged the government to reconsider the relaxed restrictions under the National Recovery Plan, NRP. One of the reasons cited by the body of 50 professional societies representing doctors, specialists, nurses, pharmacists and allied health professionals is that the nation is still seeing thousands of daily cases, overutilized intensive care units, general hospital wards, emergency departments and quarantine centres. In a statement on Tuesday, the MHC said while it understood that the country needed to reopen and provide some privileges for fully vaccinated people, it urged, among others, for the government to postpone the relaxed restrictions to a time point defined by strict evidence. It also cited 4 main reasons as to why the decision to relax restrictions was premature, including that the country was still inadequately vaccinated. The MHC said that only 27% of Malaysia's resident population of all ages are fully vaccinated, excluding undocumented migrants. It said Chile only relaxed restrictions after 50% coverage, and Singapore is targeting relaxed restrictions at 70% coverage. The MHC said that the Delta variant is likely the dominant variant in Malaysia, with it being more transmissible than the wild-type SARS-CoV-2. It said, therefore, the MHC believes that the relaxed restrictions are premature and can be dangerous. With that, the MHC proposed postponing the relaxation to a time determined by a clear set of publicised criteria, where scientific and public health criteria for relaxation are built by health experts without interference. The MHC also urged the government to implement evidence-based policies for the NRP, calling for authorities to publicise their evidence and projections and explain their rationale for the decisions. As for the Domestic Trade and Consumer Affairs Ministry, it said the country appeared to be on the right track to move out of the COVID-19 pandemic in a more orderly and safe manner. Its Minister, Datuk Sri Alexander Nantalinggi, said this is because 15.35 million, or 65.6% of the adult population in the country, had received the first dose of COVID-19 vaccine, while 8.25 million, or 35.3%, completed both doses of the vaccination, and daily vaccinations surpassed the 500,000 doses. With that, he pointed out that the flexibility given to fully vaccinated individuals can help revive various domestic economic activities that will see the opening of more economic and social sectors in stages soon. In a statement, the Domestic Trade and Consumer Affairs Minister went on to remind all consumers and traders to work together to ensure full compliance with the Standard Operating Procedures (SOP) set, especially in states under Phase 2 and Phase 3 of the National Recovery Plan (NRP). And that's to keep everyone safe and healthy, as well as to ensure business sustainability. He also said that his ministry's enforcement officers will ensure all the SOPs are fully complied with by customers and the premises, while expressing confidence that the country was on the right track to move out of the COVID-19 pandemic in a more orderly and safe manner. The nation's daily new COVID-19 cases went up once again, close to the 20,000 mark. The Health Ministry said that 19,991 new infections were reported. As for the number of deaths, another 201 people succumbed to the deadly virus, bringing the country's COVID-19 death toll to 11,162. In the intensive care units, there were 1,096 patients, with 570 of them requiring respiratory assistance. Of the 29 new clusters detected, 17 were related to workplaces. The Health Ministry has warned that it will take stern action against any quarters who try to forge the digital COVID-19 vaccination certificate in the MySejahtera application. Its Deputy Minister, Datuk Dr. Norzie Ghazali, said the Ministry's Enforcement Division and other authorities view the issue seriously and would take necessary action to curb the immoral conduct.
Yang dah jadi, inilah kerisauan rakyat juga, maka kita akan memastikan supaya penguatkuasaan ini berjalan dengan lebih teliti, lebih serius, lebih ketat, dan kalau ada kaedah-kaedah yang boleh memantapkan kejituan sijil ini, kita akan jalankan perkara ini.
He was speaking to reporters after visiting the vaccination centre for teachers at Sekolah Menengah Kebangsaan Abu Bakar Al-Bakir in Bagan Serai, Perak. He was commenting on the statement by Kelantan Police Chief Datuk Syafiee Mamat, who reminded the public not to abuse the relaxation of SOP or inter-district and interstate movements by producing fake vaccination certificates. Datuk Dr. Norzie said the issue will be brought to the Ministry's special meeting soon to discuss the suitable methods to address the matter. The national vaccination program should prioritise getting as many people as possible vaccinated before giving booster shots. Dr. Muhammad Gaus Muhammad Azam, who is the science advisor to the Science, Technology and Innovation Minister, said experts agree that the data for boosters is weak at the moment. In a series of tweets on Tuesday, Dr. Muhammad Gaus said that priority should first be given to unvaccinated individuals in order to get as many people vaccinated as possible. He said only then should booster shot be considered in the case there are enough vaccines and enough data on the matter. Dr. Muhammad Gaus said giving a booster shot to increase the efficacy for someone who already has protection should not be prioritised over those who have zero protection unless it is for extreme circumstances. He added that although all vaccines show a reduction in antibodies, the memory B and T cells will still be there. He said scientists are looking at what is known as the correlate of protection or level of neutralizing antibodies required, adding that studies are being done on why antibody tests for the public are not recommended. Last month, Coordinating Minister for the National COVID-19 Immunisation Programme, Khairi Jamaluddin, said that Malaysia has started discussions with pharmaceutical companies on the possibility of securing COVID-19 booster shots as well as vaccines for children by next year. He, however, said that even while discussions are ongoing, recommendations from local health experts concerning the need for a booster dose will be given soon. After the break, authorities foil attempt to smuggle cooking oil into neighbouring country. additional protective measures to prevent COVID-19 transmission may be necessary for the next Parliament sitting due to begin on September 6. Deputy Speaker Datuk Muhammad Rashid Hasnun said the number of individuals, including members of Parliament or MPs, allowed to be present will be determined. Besides aiming to prevent COVID-19 transmission, he said the move is also to ensure that the sessions run smoothly. The Dewan Rakyat Committee, based on advice by the Health Ministry and the National Security Council (NSC), will have discussions with both the government and opposition chief whips, and that will be done soon. The Deputy Culture, Arts and Tourism Minister's Special Functions Officer, Datuk Jaimin Samita, has died of COVID-19. He was 63. Datuk Jaimin was in Kuala Lumpur to attend the Dewan Rakyat's special meeting from July 26 to 28th. In the ministry's official social media post, it said that the late Datuk Jaimin had tested negative for COVID-19 on July 29th before attending the Parliament meet. He, however, tested positive after undergoing quarantine and was treated at a hospital since last Monday. Datuk Jaimin breathed his last on Monday afternoon and was laid to rest on Tuesday. The Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission, MACC, has detained a former mayor of a local city council in Johor for allegedly accepting bribes from contractors in exchange for granting project approvals. The 60-year-old was arrested at the state MACC office at about 3 p.m. on Tuesday to facilitate investigations into the case. In a statement, State MACC Director Dato' Azmi Alias confirmed the arrest and said a remand application will be made on Wednesday. The alleged crime took place before November 2019. He said the case is being investigated under Section 17A of the MACC Act 2009. The Domestic Trade and Consumer Affairs Ministry, or KPDNHEP, has seized 17,000 kilograms of subsidised packet cooking oil before it could be smuggled out of Kelantan to a neighbouring country. Putrajaya KPDNHEP Deputy Director of Enforcement Operations, Shamsul Nizan Khalil, said 2 men were also arrested. In a statement, he said the suspects were detained when enforcement officers seized the cooking oil during a raid on a store in Kampung Belukar, Pasir Mas at 12:30 p.m. on Monday. The raid was jointly conducted with the Bengkalan Kubur Region 3 Marine Police and Battalion 8 of the General Operations Force. The operation was conducted based on intelligence and surveillance carried out by the Ministry's Intelligence Section in Putrajaya on a cooking oil wholesaler in Malacca. Authorities identified a lorry suspected to be used by the syndicate to ferry cooking oil to Kelantan for the purpose of improper activities involving subsidised cooking oil. Shamsul Nizam said the modus operandi of the syndicate was to obtain the supply of the subsidised cooking oil from companies in Malacca and the Klang Valley by using licenses belonging to other firms. Based on the documents found, the cooking oil was meant for a wholesaler in Malacca, but it was instead rerouted to Kelantan for purpose of being smuggled out. He said 2 men, namely the lorry driver and his attendant, were also arrested to help in investigations of the case. Further investigations will be carried out to identify the owner of the premises and the chief suspect involved in the case. Still to come on Nightline, Taliban on warpath targets innocents and civilians in Afghanistan. Welcome back. The Taliban seized another Afghan provincial capital on Tuesday, the 7th in less than a week. A provincial lawmaker told international media that the insurgents had taken Farah city while setting their sights on Mazar-e-Sharif, the region's biggest city. Government forces are also battling the hardline group in Kandahar and Helmand, the southern Pashto-speaking provinces from where the Taliban draw their strength. A US peace envoy, Zalmay Khalilzad, also on Tuesday warned the Taliban that any government that comes to power through force in Afghanistan won't be recognized internationally. Meanwhile, India sent a military plane to northern Afghanistan on Tuesday to pull out its citizens as fighting raged between Afghan security forces and the advancing Taliban. The Indian government shut its consulate in Mazar-e-Sharif and urged its diplomats and Indian citizens to take the special flight home. India has now closed all its consulates, leaving only the embassy in Kabul operational. China's COVID-19 cases hit a 7-month high on Tuesday after a cluster at a test site drove up numbers as the Delta variant challenges Beijing's grip on the pandemic. State media has described the current outbreak as the most severe since the virus emerged in the central city of Wuhan. On Tuesday, Chinese health authorities reported 143 new infections, 108 of them locally transmitted. Dozens of cases came from a COVID-19 testing site in eastern Yangzhou city. Tuesday's numbers are the highest since January, when the country logged 144 new cases and 126 domestic infections, mostly in the northern regions. Lionel Messi agrees to join PSG, flies to France. Sports is coming up next. To sports, Lionel Messi flew on a private jet to Paris on Tuesday to finalize his move to Paris Saint-Germain, PSG. French nationwide daily newspaper L'Équipe said on its website on Tuesday that Messi has reached an agreement with PSG over a transfer to the French football club. And that's it from us here at Nightline. Before we go, here's a peek at a woman who decided to ditch traditional living for life of adventure on the open road as she travels in a van. 29-year-old Nick Romes set off earlier this year on a journey around Ireland and Northern Ireland. I'm Norzie. Thank you for watching and take care, Malaysia.